Threats. Anger.
Call the police, man!
Desperation.
Doesn't have a penny, doesn't own anything.
What happens when debt
I know my rights, do not turn yourself down.
tracks you down? Up and down the UK,
Oh, you don't take my equipment.
we see Britain's most resilient High Court enforcement agents,
I'm not going anywhere, mate.
dealing with every debtor's worst nightmare.
I'm not even paying a penny.
Because if you can't pay,
There's absolutely nothing I can do.
they'll take it away. A recent survey has revealed that more than half of Britain's small and medium-sized businesses have outstanding invoices totalling over £44 billion. Almost two-thirds of company owners believe that late payments were pushing their businesses to breaking point, while nearly a quarter revealed that they'd had to resort to their overdraft to keep afloat. High Court enforcement agents Stuart McCracken and Elmore Victor are in Cheadle, Manchester. They're hoping to collect a debt of almost £2,400 owed by Oracle Claims Limited in unpaid invoices.
But it's one of these accident claim companies, isn't it? Popping up everywhere.
The agents had previously tried to find company director Munir Elahi at a commercial address, but found Oracle Claims were no longer trading from there.
That's one house, mate. That's one big house.
Well, it's up, they've got one big debit card.
Notice of enforcement has now been sent to the only other official address for the business listed on Company's House.
You going that way, Vic? I'll go this way.
Yeah.
It appears to be a residential address, but the agents have every right to believe that the company is now trading from here.
Hello. Hi there. Morning. My name is Victor. I'm a High Court enforcement agent. We are after a company called Oracle Claims Limited. Mr. Munir
Don't live here, mate. This company's not registered here.
Right.
You need to check your company's house, mate.
The notice has been sent to this address.
All right, thank you very much. You give us whatever you give us, your information.
Right.
I'll speak to my brother, and that's it.
Is it your brother? Is it your brother, sir?
He's my brother, yeah.
Okay. You need to get him on the phone. We need to speak to him now.
Doesn't really live here, mate.
Are you able to get him on the phone and get this sorted,
Yeah,
and then
you know
we'll
what?
go?
Get him on the phone right now.
Yeah.
Get him on the phone.
We can get it sorted, we'll go.
I'm gonna call my dad out. I'm gonna call my dad.
Let's just get it sorted, and then we'll go.
We'll go, mate.
Simple as that.
Despite his brother Asim's instant hostility, the agents have the right to stay and investigate further.
You can arrest me. You can't arrest
Arrest?
me.
What do you mean arrest?
You can't
I'm not here to arrest
Oh,
you.
you are the High Court enforcement.
Yeah, exactly, mate. With High Court, right? Yeah.
Guess what? You don't do
Yeah.
nothing to me.
Yeah.
Guess
I know.
what? I'm not in your
I know.
limelight.
Exactly.
Get out of my
No, I'll
property.
stay
My
here.
brother, live here.
I'll
Get
stay
out of
here.
my property,
I'm not
mate.
going anywhere, mate.
Get out of my property.
Let's just get this sorted, and then we'll go. Simple as that.
Arthur, please.
Yeah.
Just ignore it. Sorry.
No, I understand. No, I understand. Yeah.
Arthur! Arthur! Can I take a minute? Tell us about doing the language.
People must think that when we in a situation where they get aggressive or starting to shout at us, that it's the first time ever it's going to happen to us. It happens on a daily basis, and you just think to yourself, here we go again. It's time for name calling. Or, oh, it's story time. Because they always want to tell you what they think you're doing is wrong or how you do it. But it's like water off a duck's back, to be honest with you.
While Asim's mother tries to calm her son down, the defendant's other brother gets him on the phone.
Hello. They've got a higher court enforcing here for the debt that you owe. The fact of the matter is, there's a debt here that needs to be sorted. Well, I can't believe you didn't sort it out. It's 700 quid with them, and it's on to 300 quid, mate, with the fees. Basically, what they're saying that they've got the details wrong. They should be going round to the office. You should not be coming to my
Listen,
property.
sir, this
You
is-
come to my
sir,
property.
sir.
And this company,
Okay.
listen,
Yeah.
let me just say, this company,
Okay.
I've got the details wrong, because if you look at the company's house,
Yeah.
you look at the company's house and company check, Oracle Claims Limited is not. This is not the address.
Yeah.
We don't trade from here. You
Okay.
look like we're trading from here. No.
I'm listening to you.
So you know that there's an amount paid. That's fine. But you come to the wrong address. You come to my home. You come to my family home, and that's disrespectful.
I've got- no, it's not
The
disrespectful, sir.
I'm not being funny. We're in an affluent area, and you just embarrassing us for no reason. You've not done your due diligence, because that company is not registered to their own address. It's just not. So
Well-
you need to do your checks, mate.
Yeah, we have,
I'll get
sir.
my laptop out right now for you.
Yeah.
And I will speak to whoever I speak to. I'm putting a complaint in, mate.
You can-
come to the wrong address. You don't understand what I'm telling you.
No, I understand what you're telling me. You don't understand what I'm saying, sir. We live in a society where you don't want your neighbours to know your financial circumstances. That can be very embarrassing. So when we arrive, they worry, what's the neighbours going to say? What's my neighbours thinking? I got to get rid of these guys. And then they just normally make the situation worse by taking that frustration out on us. That's not going to help you at all. You know, you're just making the situation worse for yourself.
The agents have now been in the house for 10 minutes. There's still no sign of the debtor, but his brother Asim isn't calming down.
Hey, mate, don't walk around with your boots like that, mate. Stand in one spot. Don't do that, mate. Stay in your mum's gaff, in your fucking dad's gaff. It's my house, it's my mum's house, it's my dad's house. So you know what, if you're gonna stand fucking correctly, mate. Can you move, mate? I'm trying to go upstairs now.
Okay, there you
move
go.
Then. Can you move over there, mate? Can you move over there? No, the guy, move over there now. Move.
With tempers rising, Stuart calls the police.
Hello, I need immediate police assistance, please. We've been met with
Are
hostility.
you telling me that I have to walk around you? You're in my fucking house, you prick. You ain't the fucking police. You work for the cops. You remember that, mate?
Yeah.
This simple case has turned into an aggressive situation. With Asim in direct conflict with Stuart, the agents will have to work hard to get this case resolved peacefully. High Court enforcement agents Elmore Victor and Stuart McCracken were in Cheadle, Manchester, to collect just under £2,400 owed by Oracle Claims Limited.
We are after Oracle Claims Limited, registered at this address.
No, live here, mate. This company's not registered here.
His family denied company director Munir Elahi lived or traded from the address, and tempers quickly escalated.
You're in my fucking house. Get out of my property.
I'll stay here.
Live here. Get out of my property,
I'm not
mate.
going anywhere, mate.
So Stuart called the police.
Hello, I need immediate police assistance, please.
Officers are on their way to the address. But then the defendant's father arrives.
The registered office is down in Cheadle,
Yeah.
not here. So,
Yeah.
so you had no right to come here, first of all.
It's a High Court writ. At the moment, they've got a CCJ, County Court judgment, against Oracle Claims Limited, right? Because the CCJ wasn't paid, the claimant has transferred to the High Court, which they're entitled to do. If he doesn't want to pay it, that's fine. We will go to the next stage.
What's that?
Remove goods.
Finally, the defendant himself arrives.
You're telling me you're going to remove... This house doesn't belong to him. This is my house.
Right. Well, as long
Right?
as we can
Not
see
his.
proof. As long as
And
we
he
can-
don't even live here, by the way.
Is that...
That's
yeah.
him. He don't even live here.
Right. That...
So you've got no right to be here.
So at some point, your son has put on this address, all right? The court has acted on information. So we are here legally. We have to get that straight. But we don't want to go to the next step unless he can make the payment. If he thinks anything is wrong here, he's got 14 days, which is 2 weeks, to sort it out.
This is a fucking piss take, this is. It really is.
What people need to realize is when we arrive at your door, all our paperwork is in order, all the checks has been done, and we are there legally. People always think whatever we're doing is illegal, but we know the law. You know, we do this for a living.
20 minutes after they were called, the police arrived.
Hello, officer, you okay?
Can I just step in? I just want to see once everyone's okay. Okay.
Obviously, when we first turned up, there's a bit of hostility, a bit of breach of the peace, so that's the reason for the call.
The police tell Asim that the agents have every right to be in the house. But now, with his whole family caught up in his debt, Munir Elahi suddenly decides to pay.
It's on a card, sir. Is it a debit card? That's the amount, 2,355 and 45 pence. You can enter your PIN number and then a green button, please. Sir,
Sources.
there you go. That's your card and your payment.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
well done.
guys.
Well done. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Alright, cheers,
Thank
thank you. You know what though, Vic? If you just answered the door and said, here's my debit card, you could have avoided all this. I think it was just a good port call just to get the police involved.
It's just a typical, you know, family standing together, which is not a bad thing.
There's ways and means of dealing with it though, isn't there?
Well, yeah.
A recent report has revealed that rising rents in the private sector, combined with low wages and freezes on benefits, have put 1 million UK households at risk of homelessness. People in private rented accommodation spend more than 40% of their monthly income on housing costs, and nearly 4 million families are cutting back on essentials to pay for their rent or mortgage. 8 a.m. High Court enforcement agent Gary Brown and trainee Connor Jackson are in New Romney, Kent, to recover a debt of more than £4,000 owed by a couple in unpaid rent.
The notes say we've got 2 traced addresses. It's going to be in this area, isn't it?
The money is owed to the landlord of a property the couple, Rebecca and Harry, shared 2 years ago.
It's looking like it could be flats, mate.
Be on this side.
It's there. It looks like a ground floor flat.
The The landlord escalated the case to the High Court, and now the debtors must pay in full, today. First to be visited is Rebecca.
We're going to have a look around the back, see if there's a back garden.
Got him.
Okay. I've seen movement.
Have you? Right, okay. Rebecca, can you come to the door, please? I know you're in there. I've seen movement. Thank you. Why didn't you answer the first time when we knocked?
Sorry, I was
That's
sorry,
right.
I've got to go to work now.
Okay, you're Rebecca, I take it?
Yes.
Okay. What it is, my name's Gary Brown.
Yeah.
I'm an enforcement agent. You've been taken to court.
For what?
You and...
You? For what?
Is it for unpaid rent or something, or...?
I moved out. I sorted it with the landlords. Because
Right.
me and him are split up. We split up ages ago. Like 2 years ago. I
Right.
spoke to the landlords and they removed me from tenancy. He's now in Newquay.
Right. Have you got his phone number?
Yes, I have. Sorry,
That's all right.
I've got to leave in like 2 minutes for work.
Okay, well, we are going to need to get this paid.
Becky tries to call her ex, Harry.
That sounds like your number's blocked.
Yeah, most probably is. That's what he's like. He won't answer because he doesn't answer me. Okay, I've got to go to work. I've got
I understand,
to get
but-
paid now.
This needs to get paid. Or we remove goods, and we don't want to do that.
Becky calls her ex's mother, Liz.
Hello? Hi there, you alright? No. I've got people here getting money for Harry's rent arrears.
Oh, I bet you've got something to do, you.
They're not going to listen, Liz. They're here now.
Right, put them on then.
Do you want me to speak to them? Hello?
Hello?
Hello there. The courts have said they are both liable for the whole money.
Responsible for the whole money, yeah.
And the order is basically for us to remove goods unless the debt's paid. So
Yeah,
the best I can
yeah.
say is we'll give you till half past 8. If the money's paid, then we'll leave with no goods. But otherwise, we're going to have to escalate the case further. We can
Won't
take.
answer me, Liz. He's blocked my number.
Oh, I'm just going to give my son a ring. I'm not sure it's going to be successful.
Okay. All right then.
All right then.
The deadline is set. But then Becky's ex, Harry, calls.
Do you know how much I hate you right now?
Right, there's no point going on like that, is there? Mum just told me.
What am I meant to do, Harry? They're going to take my stuff away because of you.
Well, it's not because of me, just me, is it?
Yeah.
It's in the house as well, so I can't...
I moved out.
It's obviously there. I'm gonna get...
Well, here you go. You can talk to him because I don't want to speak to you.
Hello, Harry.
That's what
Hello, mate.
Hello. I understand you live in Newquay.
Yeah, we're at the hospital, so, yeah. I mean, obviously, by the clothes on my back, I don't own anything, so...
Can you at least help Becky out with this? Can you pay some of it?
Well, yeah, but the thing is, I'm already paying off other bills, and so I already owe my family money as it is. So I can't give you bulk money, that's the thing.
If it's not paid, we're going to have to remove goods from this premises.
So I've got nothing. I come down with the clothes on my back with nothing.
Okay. I don't know what to say then, Harry, because my orders are to remove goods if the debt isn't paid. Because you're both liable for it.
Yeah, is she... Can I speak to her? She's there.
Yeah, 1 sec.
Hello? Hello?
Alright. But she's there.
No, I haven't spoke to my dad right now, Harry.
Right, well, I can't do anything here, can I? I've got nothing to give him. I'll give him my car if I could do, but I can't.
All right, thank you.
Cheers.
With Harry saying he can't contribute anything towards their debt, Becky is now legally responsible for the full amount on the writ.
Becky, calm down. We'll sort this out. We'll get it
I'm
sorted.
just so annoyed that he's...
No, I understand that.
I'm
That
not
would
lying
be
to you at all.
that would be frustrating.
That's the most frustrating thing. Like, I was getting email after email saying, you owe to Harry from the landlord, and I was ringing, I was like, I don't live there anymore. Can you stop email me? And they was like, yeah, we understand. We can't take you off it until he's moved out.
I see quite a lot of debt due to relationships going wrong and breaking down, and it really hits home that it's important to get things in order. So when enforcement agents turn up on their door and they're trying to recover money that one party may believe is owed by the other, it can just bring up all that past again, and it's quite difficult.
A few minutes later, Harry's stepmother, Claire, arrives.
Hello.
Okay, right, so how much is it?
£4,681.
I know it isn't. So, do you have to have the full amount?
It needs to be the full balance, really.
Glando's where I get £4 from. Oh no! I hate him so much! I know. I spoke to Dad? No. So you need to phone your dad, see if he can get you any.
Both Harry and his stepmum have suggested that Becky calls her father, but she seems reluctant.
I'm his little girl. I just
Last thing he wants to look after you, he doesn't want to see you upset like this. I can understand completely, especially why a dad would be upset that you're in this position.
But with time running out, Becky follows advice and calls her father.
Hang on, do you want to speak? Yeah, but it's not their fault. No. Do you want to speak to him, Dad? Sorry,
No, sorry,
my
we're
dad
used to
is
this.
cross, please. Sorry.
That's fine. Hello?
I'm Becky's dad. It does nothing belong to her. The TV is mine. I bought it all and I've got the seat for it all.
Well, the fact that it's in her house is we're gonna believe that it belongs to her. This does need to get resolved, and pretty sharpish. Becky will have a...
It's a surprise. I've got to speak to my wife and...
So I'll put you back on the phone to Becky, but to be honest, if it's not resolved soon, I'm gonna have to start adding fees, and that's not me being difficult.
No, you're doing your job.
Let me put you back onto Becky.
With Becky's father reluctant to help, her time to raise some funds is running out.
The horrible thing about debt is that it doesn't just affect the person who owes the money. Depending on how close family members are to that person, it can drag other people into it, and it ultimately affects them as well.
5 minutes later, Becky's father turns up at the house.
Hello there.
Hello there.
And he wants answers.
For starters, you can't take anything today, you can only mark it up and label it, correct?
Okay, I don't need to tell me how to do my
No,
job,
but that is
sir.
the correct, isn't it?
No, that's not correct.
My understanding is that you can't remove anything from this today.
Then you're mistaken,
We can.
and I have before. I'm trying to be reasonable. I'm trying to tell Becky what I'm willing to do. It's half an hour since I was supposed to escalate this case, so we've been here an hour. But once it becomes obvious to me that the debt isn't going to be paid, I have no choice but to start removing goods. I'm just going to nip out the chip and pin machine.
Please don't be quibbling, Dad. It's not my fault.
I'm cross with that. How it's...
Me and your dad are going to put it on our credit cards, half and half, right? And then we'll find out if that's okay.
With Becky's possessions at risk, Harry's stepmother Claire and Becky's father step in to pay off the £4,600 debt in full.
Okay, we'll take the payment. It's £2,387.77. They're splitting it, so half on that card and half on this card.
The rest of it's on your card, is it? Yeah, thank you.
This difficult case is finally resolved.
All right, we'll get out your hair. All right. It was nice to meet you. Shame it wasn't under more pleasant circumstances. All the best. Take care.
Thank you.
We've got a good result for the client. That's what I always take away from a case. But I really felt sorry for this girl. Genuine girl, genuine people around her coming to help her out.
Gary and Connor have managed to deal with a delicate situation. But in Stuart and Ian's next case, a soured friendship
I can't believe Richard's done this to me. No.
leads to a family crisis.
Took out a second mortgage on the house.
To try and clear debts. Fuck it out.
In 2016, more than 600,000 new companies were launched in the UK, investing on average £20,000 to cover start-up costs. However, research has shown that more than half of new businesses fall behind within the first 5 years, leaving a trail of debts behind them. High Court Enforcement Agent Stuart McCracken and colleague Ian Taylor are in Congleton, Cheshire, to collect £18,000 owed by a businessman for an unpaid loan.
It's a big one, mate. Is it a private claimant? Yeah, private individual.
The businessman, Keith, borrowed the money from a friend to invest in a new venture. But the enterprise failed. So his friend took him to court to get his money back and won the case. There's no answer. So Stuart turns his attention to the 4x4 parked outside.
It's worth a bit of money. About £7 grand.
He hopes that seizing the vehicle will prompt Keith to come to the door.
Should we get a clamp? Yeah, please, mate.
Moments later, Stuart's tactic pays off.
Sit the other crow on it, Ian. Hello there, sir. Oh. Yeah, my name is Mr McCracken. I'm a High Court enforcement agent. We're here to execute a High Court writ to the value of £18,383.
Hey,
We're here to collect payments or remove goods.
I knew nothing about it.
Right, a letter has been sent, sir.
I knew nothing about this
Right.
at all.
There's a CCJ in your name, sir.
Yes, there is.
So you do know about it?
I do know about it,
Right.
but I thought it sorted it.
Right. Well, sadly, it's taking it to the High Court, sir. Yeah. Just needs to make payment. If not, the vehicle's going as well.
Well, there's absolutely nothing I can do. Obviously, I can't. If I could have made the payment, I'd have paid it before.
No, I understand, sir. But sadly, it means that we will have to execute the writ, sir, which means this vehicle will be removed.
You better come in a minute.
Yeah. Hello. Is there anything you can pay?
Nothing. I'm
Nothing.
skint. I don't pay. I mean, Richard was a friend.
Yeah.
You know, we used to rally together.
Yeah. What's the debt regarding? If you don't mind me asking. We don't know him, you
It was
said.
a business loan. It was it was a friendly loan.
Yeah. Sadly, when money's involved, it's one of those, isn't it?
There's nothing we can do, so I can.
Well, we need at least 50% today. You see, you know what I mean?
I haven't got anything.
No.
I haven't got anything.
No.
With payments looking unlikely, Stuart and Ian start an inventory of goods inside the house they could seize along with the vehicle. But Keith is clearly still in shock.
I can't believe Richard's done this to me. I really can't. We set up a business in 2002. What we thought was a surefire. But to do it, you needed big money. So anyway, we set it up, and all we needed was like a 0.6 to take up to make profit.
Yeah.
And it never made 0.4.
Right.
And we put 300 grand in it.
Wow. Right. It only takes one bad business deal to ruin a friendship, but part of running a business is to understand that sometimes it's going to fail.
Half an hour later, Keith's partner, Julie, arrives.
What we borrowed from Richard was £8 grand is what all we owed him, so how come it sets 18?
Costs, interest,
It was 12 after
and enforcement fees.
We haven't got anything. That's why we've not been able to pay him.
Took out a loan, set the mortgage on the house.
To try and clear debts. Fuck it out.
Despite the couple's situation, the agents must continue taking the inventory.
Tell you what, some collection you've got here.
It's all shit. Is this stuff that you want to take as well?
There's anything that's of value, I'm afraid.
I don't believe you can see me.
But then Stuart spots something unexpected.
I found shotgun cartridges here, so I'm going to try and find shotguns lying around.
It appears that Keith may be involved in gun sports.
There's shotgun cartridges and loads of ammunition in the garage.
As shotguns can cost thousands, Stuart and Ian may have another asset on their hands.
It's got to be a safe then, hasn't it?
They know the guns will be stored in a safe. So Ian goes to talk to Keith.
Could you open the safe, please?
No, sorry.
Well, obviously if we had to get a locksmith, then that gets added to your bill as well, and you don't need anything added to that.
Not only that, the contents of those I'll type on by either. So,
Right, again, you need to show proof.
yeah, they're on my ticket, but they belong to other people.
With Keith refusing to open the safe, Stuart turns detective. He spots a set of keys in the kitchen and goes to look for the safe. Upstairs, Stuart finds a stepladder leading to the loft.
Bingo. Boom, there we go. 2 shotguns. I think they're both Browns.
The guns could be worth thousands of pounds each, but legally, only a specialist removal team can take them away from the premises. Stuart goes downstairs to call the office, but Keith has the police on the phone.
Hello? The bailiffs have come in, they've opened the cabinet safe, that we keep the guns in, which is completely wrong. It's illegal, actually. Thank you. They're on the way, they're going to be here any minute. Just better in the cabinet like, no, I'm not there, it's wrong.
You do get defendants that try to argue themselves out of the writ, thinking that what we are doing is incorrect and the process is wrong. We're there with a writ that tells us in black and white exactly what we need to do, and we will enforce that.
Half an hour later, the police arrive.
They're actually lying on the kitchen side.
Still tucking it there. I'd like to make it without me winning. And if they're open cabinet, which, as far as I'm concerned,
I am aware that I've got a court order and has to be a specialist officer to remove those guns.
Yes.
That is what I am aware of, but I don't know where it stands with who has to be at the cabinet at the time. But I'll find out and clarify. Okay.
The police call for advice from the firearms team and report back to Stuart.
Now, speaking with our specialist unit, firearms team, they've advised me, basically, that because you are here acting on behalf of the High Court, you have the potential permission and right to attend.
When somebody does come to remove them, they will have all the documentation to prove that they are licensed.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully that's clear things up now for you. Is that okay?
Right, thank you.
With his right to have opened the safe established, Stuart starts to make arrangements for removal of the shotguns and the 4x4.
Well, I'll ring recovery and see how long it'll take to get here.
But then Keith suddenly makes an offer.
I can find £2,000.
That will not be accepted.
I only have options here. I'll have to try and get hold of my nephew who can afford it, but then it's a question of will he help us?
Keith goes to call his nephew.
Hi Jonathan, it's your Uncle Keith. I'm in desperate need of some help. I was hoping we can sort out a loan. I managed to get £2,000 together. Yeah, would you mind? Right, you're a star. Alright, thanks Jonathan. See you in a bit. Jonathan, coming over.
Can you help?
He's going to see what he can do.
How far away is he?
It'll take you 15, 20 minutes, Dave.
It can be hugely important for defendants to reach out to family, because family ultimately is there to help when you're in need, and sometimes you do need to make that call and ask the favour, I need some help, can you help me?
10 minutes later, Keith's nephew arrives.
Hi, sorry, okay.
And makes an astounding suggestion.
I could buy it off you. You could rent it back. You clear your mortgage off, you clear this loan off, pay your rent every month, and then pay me £20,000 back. And I'll sell it back to you whenever you want it. Whenever you want it back, there's an option that's like that.
I don't see that. Maybe you're not.
Are you happy with this? I'm not happy.
I can see why you're doing what you're doing, and I understand. Yeah, I am just devastated. I've worked all my life from in school.
There's an option there to have it back. Yeah, there's an option there. It's not, you're not using it.
Yeah.
It's just it's a way of getting out of this rut that we're in now. Yeah. Yeah.
The case has taken a remarkable turn. To pay off the £20,000 debt, Keith and Julie agree to sell the home that they've lived in for 17 years.
What do we do about paying this?
We can do it by debit card or anything like that. Yeah, let's try it. That's fine, that's gone through. There we go, guys. That's the breakdown of it there. Alright. We'll let ourselves out, guys. Alright. Alright, see you later. Right.
After 4 hours at the house, Stuart and Ian come away with payment in full.
Thank God for the nephew, eh?
Yeah. Wouldn't you, though? You know what I mean? It's
Family's family, though, innit?
A recent survey has revealed that the number of people in the UK who retire whilst in debt is on the rise. Over a quarter of people planning to retire in 2017 will be in debt, and the average amount owed is 30% higher than in 2016. (6:30 a.m). High Court Enforcement Agent Gary Brown and trainee Connor Jackson are in Hove near Brighton.
I like coming here for a family day out just to go on the rides on the pier and win some teddies, that sort of stuff.
They're here with a writ to recover nearly £3,000 owed by Michael Rooks after his dog got into a fight with the claimant's dog in a local park.
First one is from Mr. Michael Rooks.
Okay.
It's a smallish debt to start you off with, £2,757.
The claimant took Mr. Rooks to court to recover their vet fees. Mr. Rooks lost the case, and now he must pay the £2,700 he owes today.
This is it, I think. It's this one here.
Main thing is get paid.
Touch wood.
There's no answer. But then Gary and Connor see movement at an upstairs window.
Is that a bloke?
I couldn't see. There's a reflection.
Somebody's here. Hi, sir. Are you Michael Rooks?
No.
Okay. Does he live here?
Yes.
Ah, can we speak to him, please?
Yeah, hold on.
Mr. Rooks?
Yes.
Hi, my name's Connor Jackson. This is my colleague Gary Brown.
I don't want a dog to get out.
You've been taken to court on the 13th of the 2nd this year, so we're here to collect an outstanding balance of... well, no, today it's £2,757 and 44 pence.
We have a dog fight. That's all.
So what, your dog attacked her dog?
Yes. She was exercising 3 dogs in the park, one of which she was throwing a ball for, which she threw near to me while I was picking up a dog's mess. I picked it up and my dog went for her dog. I don't know if you know anything about staffies, but once they've got their grip going, you can't let them go. I've heard people say, oh, stick your finger up the arse. I ain't going to do that.
Despite Mr. Rooks's dispute with the claimant, the agents are legally bound to enforce the writ today.
Today, we need to collect £2,757.
Not over a big dog fight, you know.
Okay, well...
It's not going to happen.
Can I just understand, when you said that you're not paying it, have you got the ability to pay it and you're refusing to?
I'm an old age pensioner.
Okay, well, if you can't pay it, we're going to have to remove goods from the property.
So I'm not even paying a penny of it. I'll go to prison first. I haven't got £2,000 in my name.
Okay, but...
I might live in a nice house. This house cost me £7,000 30 odd years ago. So that's the only reason I'm living here.
With Mr. Rooks refusing to, the agents must look around the house for goods they could seize. But he's got other ideas.
Don't you come into my house?
Sir?
I'm sorry you're not coming in.
We are going to be coming in, sir.
Where are you going now?
I'm going to go and have a look around the house. Sir?
You're going to have a look around my house.
Connor and Gary are now in a difficult situation. Faced with an elderly debtor obstructing them in their duties, they must use all their tact and experience to get this case resolved. Gary and Connor were in Hove, East Sussex, to collect £2,700 owed by Michael Rooks after his dog was in a fight with the claimants.
So your dog attacked her dog?
Yes.
Mr. Rooks refused to pay.
So I'm not even paying a penny of it.
And wouldn't let Gary and Connor into the house.
So you're going to have a look around my house.
Now, they need to try and make him understand that they won't be leaving until they've resolved the case, one way or another.
Unless you make the payment, we're going to have to remove goods, sir.
I don't care if I'm not paying anything. I'm certainly not paying £2,000 odd as you say now, over a dog fight.
Okay, well, the court has ordered that you owe the money. We're going to look around downstairs.
Gary and Connor try once again to make an inventory of goods they can seize to offset the debt. But then Gary spots something.
Check out the balance on that.
Sir, so you say you can't pay this. We found your bank statements here, sir. You got one here last year with a closing balance of £22,000, and there's another one here for £32,000.
Yeah.
So this isn't a case of you can't pay it, this is a case of you won't pay it.
I'm not paying anything.
This is going to go one of two ways. Either the balance is paid, or we're going to remove goods today, and it's going to put the balance up. So, we don't want to remove your goods. The best thing that you can do now is make a payment. We'll give you a receipt, we'll leave you all the court documents.
How much would you call a payment?
Well, all of the balance.
No, not fucking £2,000.
So I've seen your bank statements for the end of last year. You had 50 grand in there.
Yeah.
So you do have the balance.
Well, I'm not paying any penny at all. I'm not even going to appeal. I'm sorry. I think it's absolutely... Oh.
I'm trying to help you here.
Oh, no, I'm trying to argue with you people. Excuse me. That vicious dog that's guarding my house ain't doing me any good, is it? Wait, dog, get out of it. Yeah, you. All your bleeding fault.
This is just stubbornness, this is now. And it could cost him. I don't think he understands that through his stubbornness...
I'm not fucking stupid.
So why can't we resolve this, sir, and save...
I told you, I'm not paying me.
Okay, but would you rather pay us, or would you rather me take things from the house?
Look, I'd rather you left. I think it's absolutely disgusting that you could come in here and start threatening me about what you're going to take if I don't pay your money.
I'm not threatening you, sir.
You are threatening me.
I'm trying to explain to you the process and what's going to happen if you don't make the payment. So, are you going to make this payment now, sir?
Oh, fucking hell.
The situation is at a stalemate. Connor tries one last time to try and persuade Mr. Rooks to pay.
This is the last time I'm going to ask this. I'm going to give you this chance now. to make the payment at 2,700. Otherwise, I'm going to have to escalate.
Before you answer that, if you say no, you're not going to pay it, it is going to immediately go up to the next stage of enforcement and we will start removing goods. That's going to cost you more money. So please answer it carefully.
Yeah, all right.
Mr. Rooks finally agrees to pay his debt in full.
Okay, so 275,744, yeah, Gary? Okay, that's all been authorised.
Do you ever have people who have a heart attack while this is all happening?
Not yet, but...
Not yet, but you might get one in a minute.
Hopefully not. It's all dealt with and we're going to be leaving now.
But he has one last word for the agents.
I'm still pissed off with these two.
It's nothing personal, Michael.
No, my pissed off to you two is nothing personal, but I am.
I'm going to leave you in peace. Right, it was nice to meet you. Shame it wasn't under...
I used to shake your hand, but I will do.
It's a bit late. All right, take care. Hope you get it sorted,
Just
all right?
remember, I'll look at your faces and I won't have you come in my house again.
Well,
but you've got your money now.
hopefully we won't need to.
Please
will we?
leave. I've had enough of you two. You fucking drive me out the wall. I thought it was the police. They're coming round to tell me that the bailiffs are going to be called in to me or something like that. I was fast asleep in bed, for fuck's sake. They might get up early, but I don't.
Oh, well done, mate.
Thank you. It was a difficult one, that, because all I kept thinking was, he's just like my granddad, this. He's stubborn. I think people of that generation...
It is tough. You don't, the last thing you want to be doing is enforcing on an elderly person. But, do you know what? They owe the money just like the rest of us.
And the Can't Pay agents are back at 9 next Wednesday. Tomorrow night, the youngsters who embrace childhood on the move. Gypsy Kids, Our Secret World is brand new at 9. Next tonight, reach into Channel 5's bedside table for 50 Shades of Grey. Though unlike your daily commute, there's no hiding your TV behind a copy of Metro.